Ableton Live 12 is finally here, and in this video I want to answer one single question. Does this update make Ableton Live the ultimate DAW for electronic music, or is it simply overhyped and you're better off with FL Studio, Cubase, Logic, or even a previous version of Ableton? Now, who am I to talk about this? My name is Philip from Pick Yourself. I produce, mix and master music full-time in my Berlin-based studio. I've done this for over a decade, and I've used 5 or 6 different DAWs at this point. So this is a first impression of Ableton Live 12. This is a completely unbiased and honest first look at this, and I'm not being compensated by Ableton to say any of this in this video. So I'm going to reveal the 3 new features that excite me personally the most in this update. I will then help you decide whether or not this update is worth it in your case. And finally, at the end of this video, I'm going to reveal whether or not I believe that Ableton Live 12 is the ultimate DAW for electronic music, better than anything else out there. But first, let's talk about the one thing that truly disappoints me about this Ableton Live update. So in Ableton Live, they introduced a new synth called Meld. And yes, it has a few cool sounds, but in my opinion, this is a missed opportunity. Because once again, Ableton made it super fiddly to modulate parameters inside the synth and pretty much everywhere else. Can anyone please explain to me why you still have to go into a tiny modulation tab just to map an LFO or an envelope to, for example, a filter in your synth? Why don't we get a user-friendly, simple drag and drop modulation handle that we can use for these types of standard tweaks? We've seen this for over a decade in synths like Serum, or even in Native Instruments' massive synth, the original one that is like 15 years old or so. And this is still not possible in Ableton Live. Or is it? Well, at least in version 12, they updated the Max for Live modulation tools like the LFO. You can now finally tweak the knob of the parameter that is being modulated. Now, this used to be grayed out in previous versions and only controlled by the modulation device, and that was a serious workflow issue in my opinion. And that brings me to the positive side of things, because in Ableton Live 12, I've seen massive workflow upgrades. The first thing I love about Ableton Live 12 is that they massively upgraded the user experience and just the interface overall. Not only does it look better and feel smoother, we finally get a dedicated mixer below our arrangement view. This feature was requested for ages by users and it's final here. I think it's a great update. And honestly, I'm a big Cubase user as well, so comparing the DAWs side by side, it always felt like Cubase was so much faster in terms of the actual workflow, switching between window layouts. And Ableton felt like it was lagging behind, even if it was the more creative DAW in my opinion. But now you can finally customize the layout of Ableton Live to actually reflect your workflow, and even show things like clip view and device view at the same time. The second big workflow upgrade in Ableton Live is the new browser. You can now finally tag your sounds, which makes it much easier to find the right sample at the right time in your project. And if you're a regular viewer of this channel, you know that I strongly believe in having a super well organized secret weapon sound library that is all killer, no filler, leagues apart from what you have in this overwhelming sea of samples in Splice or Loop Cloud. And so it makes me really happy that Ableton makes the right moves and helps their users stay organized and not forces them to flip through thousands of useless samples just to land at the right one. They even have a special feature called Sound Similarity Search. Now this is super clever because it lets you instantly replace one sound with another sound, or even a whole drum rack with a different drum rack that has the same characteristics as the original one. Last but not least, I'm going to share with you my absolute favorite new feature inside Ableton Live 12. This feature alone is worth the update to me, and I'm going to share a lot of cool workflows with it in the next few weeks. So if you don't want to miss this, consider subscribing to the channel, consider liking this video. It really means a lot to me, and you will not miss out on any of these videos. The one killer update in Ableton Live 12 is the improved creative tools inside the piano roll while working with MIDI. Now you might think that this is not revolutionary, but let me share with you what I believe is happening here. First of all, you can now define a global scale for your project that gets automatically applied to everything that happens inside that project unless you don't want it to. Now, I'm not at all saying that music has to be locked to a certain key or a certain scale. In fact, a lot of the music that I've produced in the past few years for 3D immersive sound installations was completely off the scale and off the grid, and it doesn't really matter. But I think this is a super handy feature. I think there's a large group of music producers that have great taste and great ideas, but little to no music theory background, and they are not interested in that as much, but they still want to reap the benefits. And I think for this group, it's especially helpful and it will benefit them a lot. But that feature is just the tip of the iceberg, and the deeper you go, the better it gets. For example, we now have a built-in arpeggiator in our piano roll, so you don't need the arpeggiator device anymore, and it has has super cool options, it follows the global scale automatically, and it's still just the beginning. There are so many cool new ways to generate grooves and make them interesting. For example, there's a Euclidean sequencer now built into Ableton straight away. You used to have to install a Max for Live device and route that in a certain way to make it possible. Now you have this already inside your piano roll. I think this is a fantastic addition, but that's not all. There are basically endless ways to now generate melodies and chords and variations of all of them by using Ableton's built-in MIDI generation functions. Now, these generative inspiration tools is what I would call them. I find them super helpful in phases of writer's block, in phases of having this fear of failing with music production. So you're sitting in front of your DAW, you don't know how to get started. It's relatively easy to create something as a starting point and then pivot from there, make good decisions and let your taste guide you. Now for the naysayers and pessimists that say, oh my god, that's AI stuff, I don't want it, consider watching this video here that I made about AI and music production. It will help you adopt a different mindset, and I think this is a clever way moving forward. But now for Ableton Live 12, we just have to say this is only the beginning. I don't think that this is true AI capability that is super clever, and I think there's still a lot of human touch necessary. Now there are so many cool features inside that feature, for example the seed, the shape and the stack modes, the different warping and MIDI editing capabilities that are now possible in Ableton Live 12. So if you want me to do a proper deep dive on this, then leave a comment below and let me know. I'm more than happy to do this for you. But okay, let's not get caught up in shiny object syndrome. We want to pause for a second and think clearly and critically whether or not we really want this update, whether you want this update. So I know that beyond the three things that I've mentioned here, there are a ton of other great improvements. For example, we could mention this new raw saturation distortion tool. We could also mention Granulator 3, which is the newest iteration of my favorite granular synthesizer. These are all things that make it super attractive to upgrade, but we have to step in and ask ourselves, does it really make sense at this moment for me right now? So let me try to help you with this decision. If you are on a really old version of Ableton Live, so I would say way before version 10 or 11, I think you cannot go wrong with this update. It's just going to massively improve your workflow overall, also thanks to the other upgrades in 10 or 11. Now, if you are on a really recent version of Ableton Live, it is a bit more tricky. I honestly don't believe that a new synth like Meld or a distortion plugin like Raw is worth the investment of this upgrade. They are not game changers at all, they are just nice to have, and you can get a lot of the benefits also with the tools that you already have in Live or any other DAW. But if you're at least a little bit like me and you enjoy having a smooth, reliable, fast workflow, then I think this update is really something you can consider. And also if you see your DAW more like a creative companion or sparring partner that suggests ideas and challenges you in interesting ways, then yes, I think this upgrade is an absolute great investment. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Is Ableton Live 12 the best DAW for electronic music? I'd say that first of all, this is a very personal choice. And even if this is my favorite DAW for making electronic music, I still see so many things in other DAWs like Cubase or Bitwig that I'm secretly jealous of, where I know like, oh, if I could just have this feature or that feature in Ableton, that would completely change the game. But let's be honest, all of the things on our personal wish list will never be part of our DAWs. So I don't think that one DAW will dominate all aspects over every other DAW. And to be brutally honest, you can make terrible music in any of these DAWs. And so I would like to hear from you. What do you think about this update? Is it worth it for you or not? What are the features that you're celebrating? What is still missing to you? Share your opinion below and I will join the discussion and see you in the next video.